This is the MicroKey Central Station alarm processing software. So from here, whenever you log in, the yellow and green light it should automatically pop up for processing. That means that the alarms will drop to your screen when something new comes in. If it's not already processing, then it will just have the basic Central Station icon, and to get it to start processing, you can click the processing icon on the ribbon or press the F9 key for the shortcut. One of the main things that we would recommend that you start pulling up and make sure that you keep up all the time is the alarm stack, which is the F8 shortcut. This will show you an overview of all of the signals that are on hold, pending to be processed, pending to be handled, or are already being handled by another operator. You'll be able to tell what operator is opening or handling a signal based on the initials in the operator line, the names, what time they came in. If the signal is on hold, it'll have an H. If it's open on another operator's screen, it'll say O. If it has a P, that means it's pending to be processed by another operator or by you. If there's a time on the hold until, then when that time expires, it will then drop to another operator. Something else to be very aware of is the priority. Your priorities number from 1 to 20. 1s being your fire alarms, 2 are your fire supervisories, 3s are your panics, 4s are your burglary alarms, and then 5 through 20 are going to be troubles and low batteries and stuff like that. The system will automatically give you the highest priority based on how old it is. So you'll always get a fire alarm before you get a burglary alarm, and so on and so forth. So it just does that math for you. Another thing that we would recommend that you keep up is the on test stack, which is the F5. The on test, whenever you put something on test, you are going to stop all of your alarms coming to the operator screen, and it's just going to log into history. So a time that you would do that is if you have a technician that's going to do a fire test at a location, or if the alarm keeps going off because there's an event happening at the school on the weekend and they can't disarm the system, and instead of you having to process signals over and over and over again, you can put it on test for whatever that time frame is. So you would just hit the add test key. We can do search by, and if you want to search by the name of the location, or if you have the ID, the Central Station ID number, then we can choose that way, or you can just pick it from the list. You select the location that we want to place on test. You pick your start and end time. The start time is always going to be 1 hour ago, and that's just to account for any kind of time changes that might be different between your office and the actual school location, in case the clocks aren't exactly right. And then you just set your end time. So if they're going to be there until 3 o'clock, then you can just put in 1500. You can put in who you spoke with to authorize that they were placing on test. So if you're talking to a tech for a fire test, you can put in the notes that who it is and that they're doing a fire test with your end times. Hit save. From the test stack, you can choose the account and hit alarm history to pull up the alarm history for everything. Make sure that this is moved up or down so you can actually see the history. Sometimes it'll be all the way up and it looks like you don't actually have any alarm history. So you can just grab that, pull it down. As they send in signals, it'll all be listed from here up. If they, at the time that you put in for it to expire, it'll automatically go back into service and you'll start receiving signals again just like normal. If they end up leaving early, then you can always just take it off test early and just put it back in service whenever you're ready to. If somebody calls in to check in or check out of an account, but you don't need to place it on test, but you just want to keep a note that somebody said that they were going into the location or that they're leaving the location, you can come to customer note. Again, just choose the account and put in your notes. John is checking into this location. Save, it lets you know that it saved it. And then whenever we go to the account, we can go to subscriber information, pull up our account, and go to the signal history. And it will show us that it manually added an entry into the history with the time and date with our notes that John was checking into the location. If John's now going to check out, you can either do the same process where we want to add a note, it'll add a new entry into the system, or we can just add to this one that already exists by going to add info, manual detail, John is leaving, system checked, okay. Save that, and it just adds it in just below it without having to add a new entry into the alarm history. Notes and verify password operates the same way as customer note. The only difference is if you choose note or verify password from the customer screen, you don't have to search for the customer again because you already have it selected. But it does the exact same thing. From the subscriber information, you can check the alarm history like we just did, or if you go to panel information, you can check the history from here. We can choose areas to see what areas are armed or disarmed if they have multiple partitions on a single panel. We can go to the CSID zones so you can see what zones they actually have on that account. History, test. Test is a schedule. So for example, this is looking for test signals every 24 hours, and if it doesn't receive that, then it's going to send you a message letting you know that the system isn't communicating with you. Under subscriber information, there are temp notes. These are temporary notes. One of the examples that we've been using for the temporary notes are if there's a lock-in this weekend at one of the schools, you can put in a note. So we can come in here and say Friday night, from, well, let's just do that from the screen then. So we can say Friday night from 6 o'clock until Saturday morning at, let's do noon. There is a lock-in on site. And there is a spell check. And then we can hit save. And so what this does is Friday from 6 p.m. until 12 on Saturday, this note will pop up anytime there's an alarm. So if something starts going off on site, you'll already have this information that you can then relay to the officers, or call a special call list if you need to call a special call list while this is going on. Just to give you that additional information. Once this time expires, it will go back to being inactive. It doesn't delete itself, so just in case you need to reactivate it at a future time, you don't have to keep re-adding the same notes. Or if you just need to delete it because you're never going to use it again, you just hit the delete key. Under miscellaneous, there are two options here that you won't use. Loss prevention just brings up a sheet that we wrote for one customer. They're the only ones that use it. Unverified zones, again, you're just not going to use it. It's to force a test on a zone anytime the system's on test. From here, if you had a list of people to call, so if you had principal phone numbers, different members of staff, all of those would be listed down here with their phone numbers off to the side. manual processing events. That covers those. Another feature that you guys might start using is under actions. There is emergency management mode. We've been talking about this for storms, or if you have like widespread power outages where you start getting, you'll have 200 signals that come in just all at once. You can come in here and say you want to activate the emergency management mode. You can set this for priority 4, priority 5, and what it does is you hold any signals with priority 5 and above. So what that means is priority 5 through 20 would then go immediately to hold on the alarm stack, just like we see here, where they're not going to drop to your screen, they're just going to sit there until you're able to go and grab them. But that would leave priorities 1 through 4. When they come in, they'll drop to your screen just like normal. So you don't just keep getting interrupted with low priority signals. And if you click the update existing pending signals, and you can put in your notes, large storm, hit post, that activates it. When you're ready to deactivate it, we just come back into emergency management mode, tell it to deactivate, and it goes away. We can tell if it's active down here at the bottom of the screen. It says EMM active. That means emergency management mode. And then when we deactivate it, it just goes away. Another thing that is going to be helpful going forward, especially with how we're adding in new information, is help and search. We've recently changed the entire help file, so it is searchable and you can just look up certain topics. It does search for every time that it's mentioned, so there can be a lot of information, but you can kind of filter it down as you're going through. But just for example, if we search for alarm stack, this is everywhere that alarm stack is listed. So we can look, if we double click on the alarm stack entry, it just gives you a complete breakdown of everything in the alarm stack, how to sort through different information, just what everything means. One of the issues that you guys had coming up to this point were a lot of invalid signals and just missing information. So we've been working with as the techs are adding in these fields, they're adding in the communicator format, which is going to define what all of the alarms mean. So all of your E130s are going to say that they're burglary alarms. All of the E110s are going to say that they're fire alarms. And all of that will just get defined for you, so you don't have to memorize what all these codes mean. We're also adding in all of the zone descriptions. So it's going to tell you zone 1 is the first floor motion detectors, or zone 2 is the kindergarten through first grade hallways, things like that. So all that's going to start getting defined for you to help you out. Do you have any questions about any of it?
No.
Okay.